check this out. So as grape growers, right, one of the things that we have an advantage to do, and I say it's an advantage, it can quickly turn south, based on fires, which we had fires in California, right?
Yeah.
The smoke by us, because we weren't in the heart of it, didn't negatively impact the grapes. But for example, right, you're only as good as your last crop. So if you're really not good at grape growing, you really have almost very little chance of getting consistency in your wines, because if you can't grow them, you're buying them from all these different people, right? And even though you put your requisition in for what you want, you still don't really know what you're going to get. They tell you, they put it on the bin, this is what you ordered, but you don't really know how it was farmed. So, for examples like that, we buy grapes from Edna Valley for our Albarino, but we help manage the land. So we kind of keep those consistency things going. But where I'm driving this conversation right now is with the Merlot, is when that movie Sideways came out, right? We watched in our area because that was filmed right by us. But it negatively impacted the sales of Merlot. And I'm not a big Merlot guy, never have been. And so one of the fun things is that when you're growing the fruit, you can play a lot, and not a little, but a lot. So we made two versions of our Merlot, right? The Summit Creek Merlot, which is the one you guys have there, is deliberately formulated, right, to be for places that are super hot or humid. We wanted a Merlot that was going to be heavy enough, but not like be a tannin explosion in your mouth where it dries you out so much that you have to be drinking water, a lot of water, right? And if you're drinking a lot of water, you're getting up to go to the bathroom all the time. So we said, let's do this. For the zones in the United States that are really, really super hot, that get over triple digits, and we get triple digits in Paso, so we had a great place to practice this, right? Is we made the Summit Creek Merlot. It's a lower price point than the Estate Merlot, but it looks the same. It just tastes a little bit more mid-tier and not so light. It's like a perfect Merlot to go year-round. The Estate Merlot, right, is definitely more of a tannic, big explosion in your mouth. And when we make the difference between our Zinfandels or our Cabernets or our Merlots, right, we have two of each in the marketplace. I call them lovingly regular and extra crispy, right? But the truth of it is that it's really cool to be able to offer that to the consumer and say, try them both, see what you dig. And one couple might like this, or one person in a relationship might like the lighter one or the mid-tier one, and the other one might like the heavier one, right? I gravitate towards the heavy. My wife gravitates toward the light. It's kind of cool, right? So anyway, the Summit Creek Merlot, which we lovingly call a Merlopolo, was really, we had Texas in mind, Texas and Chicago and New Mexico when we crafted this. And again, these are all grapes from our land. So we've got a little bit over 300 some odd acres at this point. And this fruit is from the west side and the east side of Paso Robles. So we get about a 45-degree temperature swing every day, and that's every day. So these the fruit that we're growing is just like, I call them tiny little miracles, right? We dry farm, so we don't give them a lot of water. You actually make them struggle, like the roots have to struggle to go down deep into the soil. So when you first see these, you're like, really? That's it? That's the size of them? But when you taste them, you're like, oh, mother of God, this is like really good. And that's why Napa and Sonoma are just notorious for coming down to our neck of the woods and buying almost everything that we've got. You make good money when you sell your fruit to Napa and Sonoma, right? Cabernet, Merlots, some Zins, etc. And they blend it into whatever the heck they're doing up that way. But this particular Merlot was, again, more of like let's put on some Netflix, take off your boots, hang on the patio, and say, pandemic, what was that all about? Just kick back and say, ah. So anyway, it's important to know this. Opolo means fun. That life is short, that you got to live, dance, feast, and kiss, right? And I mean that sincerely. We don't know what comes tomorrow. But when we toast, it sounds just like the Greeks. So to all of you on this fine Saturday, I'm going to raise my little cup and just say it's a pleasure to see you. It's a pleasure to kick this little get together off. And I just want to say it's nice to be a part of this Steve's wine tasting tonight. So cheers to everybody. Salute, we say. Opolo.